ages. Jam on toast. This is the watch spot. I am Kamurai, and it's good to see that intro done right for once. Even though it is still a little awkward, I'll I'll fix it. I'll figure out a way, time and place. Oh, it cut off the beginning. I cannot understand how YouTube decides how it's gonna cut up that opening shot. I don't understand. Um, okay, so I'm too tired to care about that right now. I got really no state of whatever's, no real failures launches. Um, get right into it. Can't do this, not quick and dirty, but, quicker than normal. Um, Two Broke Girls. This makes me laugh so hard. It's like where it's fun to see Max, who's the dark cynical person, go to a happy place. You got to pet sit her boyfriend's dog or whatever. And it's a big deal for her as a character, etc., etc. And then of course Caroline's so self-absorbed that she lets the dog out and they have to go chase it. While there's a serial killer on the loose, and J Lo's on the line for the movie and bails on Caroline because can't get in touch or together or whatever because serial killers and connections and paparazzi, stupid. Um, so that's pretty much the episode. It's just Max's boyfriend. Oh, Caroline got a movie. Really felt like they phoned that one in, but hopefully it's set up in a future movie. But I can hope. Over the Big Bang Theory, we have kind of a weird independent thing that I don't think is going to come back up. If it does, that's going to be a really fucking boring setup and boring execution. Get the hell out of here. Um, it's all about like Leonard and Sheldon have their super helium nonsense, whatever that they figured out, and then Allwitz figures out like some way to utilize that. So they decide to go in on a patent for an app, and of course, there's all these fucked up rules at the university, and like Howard being cut out, and so it's like the whole episode comes out making a contract with your friends, how to do things correctly and be better friends there throughout. It really was kind of ridiculous, not in like any funny way. There's very little entertaining about it. The Raj's storyline was definitely more interesting. Had the whole thing where he broke up Emily recently because of the bartender or whatever, and then of course Free can do whatever he wants and he can't stop thinking about whoever. And Emily starts trying to get him back at the same time. The bartender becomes available, and unless Emily and the bartender end up together, the entertainment value of this is going to be very short lived. But right now, it's the most interesting thing going on in the show because moved to this weird space where everyone's like weird happy couples because what else to do with them. Crazy ex-girlfriend. So this is a show that knows how to do dysfunctional relationship dynamics. Uh, Josh is so sure that Valencia is gonna dump him because he kissed Rebecca. Which, can we be honest here, is like a really mild thing to be like, you kiss somebody, get them pregnant, do the laundry, and talk about it. I don't know. Like she seemed like really oddly secure about everything. She went back to being bitch real after she sued. A weird point about how like delivery's too slow, so it'd be faster for him to get it and bring. The fun part about that episode though was like Rebecca discovering she's not rich because like throughout the whole season she's just whatever this. So I figured like she still had like a lot of a big paycheck coming from the firm, but you just didn't have as big a paycheck as she wouldn't. She like was money retarded, and that was just that all on its own is funny. You can play the Jew card if you want. I'm not going to. That's not what a sheep does on occasion. So I guess you're not totally out of line to do so. Over on Last Man on Earth, yep, Phil's dead. I'm just gonna spoil that one right at the back. After a super dramatic end of the season last season, or after before the break, whatever you want to call it, Phil is dead. They were gonna like bury him at sea and burn his thing, but they did this long running joke with Phil and a bow, and just him being so ridiculous about not knowing how to shoot it. I don't understand what's hard about that, and maybe that's the joke. Pull the string back until it's taut, and then that springiness releases the arrow. He was just doing things like, "Oh no, it only went a foot," and it's very silly. Not in a way that's funny. But of course, because he didn't burn it, the boat comes back up, and they end up burying him anyway. Melissa ends up kind of going insane because Todd turned her down for marriage, which is weird because she was already in a kind of a crazy place before that, and then it was super crazy for her to propose marriage when they weren't even technically together at the time. Now she's being kind of weird and possessive. Todd's been boning Gail, and Gail's been drinking because Todd doesn't want to tell Melissa. And oh my God, such drama, which is really kind of irritating that there's still just such stupid drama going on. They're not worried about survival. The only person who's capable died, and so Phil's brother's still out there trying to get there. Of course, it's going to take a minute because he's going to go to Tucson. He's going to find maybe some clues about Malibu and then show up in Malibu. And who knows how that's going to switch things up. Or if he's smart enough because he's an astronaut to be the capable person to get them back on track. Knows. And then there's a really ridiculous scene about Phil not being able to raise the baby because dead Phil's like last words were that he couldn't raise the baby. Which really, does the dead guy get a say in what's happening? That's up to you or the baby mama, I guess. But fuck me. I'll let the living people figure it out. I'm just not sure about that one. But he did a job on the crib, and then him throwing against the tree, like that should be its own video out there. So, like recreating that. Let's see. Over a New Girl. It was a while back, but Nick tries to make a connection with Reagan before she leaves. Like that was the whole thing. Is like weird will they won't they thing. Reagan and Nick, and it became more of an emotional equivalency and a sexual one, which I thought was odd, and because the show doesn't typically get that highbrow, but it was really kind of a neat, weird focus, and I think when trying to help him the whole time, I think it came down to Schmidt being like, "Hey, you're going to write out a bunch of things you want to say to her, and I'm going to tell you no." There's a really funny thing going on with that, like it just like this weird cycle and process to get to the best one. But Jess helps him out, and she hangs out with Reagan, which is kind of weird because it was really like Reagan was the Jess replacement for a little bit. Kind of funny to see them together. But now she's back in her own show, and it feels super awkward. Because she's like weirder and goofier than ever, and I think it's just the contrast between Reagan and then Jess coming back into the over Life in Pieces. Okay, so the parents pranking the high school. I don't understand why you not believe. I get parents are stupid, but why? Like, if like, hey, we did it. Like, so what's the case where they actually did it? What happens in that case? Like, God, they switch two letters. They switch like an R and an L. With like Fleshman erections. It's ridiculous like that. Stupid that like anyone had got in trouble over it at all, or that they blamed like there's sorry it's actually upsetting because it's very much a guilty till proven innocent type scenario, and if the parents had just gone in and be like you can't prove who did it so you can't punish anybody, that's very much what it should have been. It's what it is. I mean, and I was aware of some high school pranks back in the day, but whatever. I think the big one was boobs on top of the. They ended up, someone ended up changing it like the date or something. Um, oh, then Colin's all jealous of Zoe List Jones's man assistant. Hey, this is such an old trope. I'm glad that joke's dead and out of the way. Because it's really not an entertaining trope at all. But I mean, they're fun to see them banter and fight or whatever about. Grandma babysitting the kids was funny. Kid got gum stuck in their hair. They tried all this nonsense. Of course, the kid, because she's the most practical person on the show, just cuts it out of her hair. And what did she care? Um, let's see. Oh yeah, this was actually entertaining. The grandpa and his son's ex having a dog affair, where their dogs were seeing each other hang out. Um, and they were like, they had like some weird discussion about like, what do you call an affair without the sex? And they're like, I think it's a friendship. Yeah. So like it was, and it all turns out to be some weird manipulation plot to just pawn the dog off on his son. Son will talk to his ex again. Um, and I get that like they do that often, like, oh, we're wise old people and we know best, but sometimes it's just you gotta let it be. Or Last Man Standing, the whole episode was about Mike not wanting to share his desk. So he ends up getting a shed, and it's pretty much as awful as it sounds. Like he dresses it up a little bit for the description, and then it's supposed to be a she shed, where he can make it all nice for her and everything, and they have power and stuff out there. But he ends up liking it so much he wants it for himself, so he ends up. I can't remember. I don't remember if he vies for the desk and the shed, but he tries to manipulate her out of it. The idea being that she can have the desk. Um, I really can't remember how that ended because that is a silly premise. Um, and then like there's this stupid employee of the month situation with Chris and Kyle, and it just comes down to like, oh, you have this thing that you think I don't. But we're friends, so we're supposed to get together. Like it was really the morally story. I don't know so much. Over grandfather Jimmy getting serious, fails at it hard, and then he locks it in later. Jimmy, and he's got to come out on top. I would really like to see. I'm looking for the episode where he just fails and burns, crashes and burns. That's the word. Um, and then Gerald trying to get Eva, that's the daughter, his baby mom. I can't remember her name right now. Involved in their like family stuff, like between him and his mom. Like they have movie night where they have some like ridiculous system on like how to pick a movie. We take turns, like do something. Like don't like make a 15 veto system. I get they made a game out of it. Fuck me, like that was awful. I was with her all the way on that one. Like call me when you pick a move. Over fresh off the boat. This was really cute that they did such like a adult movie tropey type thing on a TV show with kids because it was very much like he made a date or whatever to get ice cream with his ex, and his girlfriend and her had never hung out, um, and so like his friends got him all upset about thinking that she was gonna get jealous of him hanging out with his ex, and like they were gonna fight or something. They ended up being like like not best friends, but like they get it on really well, and uh, so it's like, oh, I guess the world's not so crazy. Yeah, we can all be mature about it. And then whatever, he finds out his friend used to have a crush on his girlfriend. Used to, like, there's nothing going on. Like, it's not like they're dating or anything. And he gets mad jealous. And it's like, really, really, we did this with the kids and all. And I can't even remember what the adults were doing. It might have been the thing where Jess was trying to get alone time with Honey, and then dude kept crashing it, so he got. I feel like this was last week's. But like she got him to go find a pool partner, and then he found, oh okay, it had to be the same episode. He found a girl, pool partner that he was hanging out with, and then she gets jealous, and then she goes out to do it, and she's like, "This sucks. Your shit is stupid. I'm glad I don't have to be that person anymore. Go out with her every night," which I think is really funny. But I mean, it's dangerous on some level too. There's this weird balance that you're trying between having things to relate to somebody and doing the same thing and having things to do with someone, and then not being all up in their junk all the time. Real O'Neills. Did I skip anything? Modern Family in the Middle didn't have any episodes. On hiatus. Angel from Hell's on a hiatus. Real O'Neills. It's all lint. And I think it's just like Patty's Day parade or what. I don't know. I don't know about the St. Patty's Day parade. I think it was last week. Sometimes these shows blur together when they're just not important. The important bits were that like we finally got to see the kid go on a date, and how stupid and awkward he is, and now that he's actually interested, because he went on dates all the time with his girlfriend, but he didn't give a shit because like I I don't know. I guess you simplify. It's like I'm not gonna bone that. I don't care. Like if she dumped him in the middle of the restaurant, he might care about like people looking at him for a minute, but then he'd be like, "Oh, breadstick," and he'd chomp down on some breadstick. Be okay. Like with the guy, he was all like willing to eat weird vegan food and like not saying vegan food's necessarily weird. Like the perspective of the kid, that's my opinion of the same, but all right, do you? Um. Oh yeah, and then like they all made weird lint problems. Really strange. Like this family's so bizarre. Like you had to have written them. But the brother was like not taking long showers, and it's just code for jacking off. And I really wish uh, they had just said that because like he was pretending like you couldn't take long showers in his room. It's just really strange. The sister getting her period for the first time and dad having to deal with that—that's always a funny thing to me because it's ridiculous that men can't just step up to that challenge. Um, Now I can't tell a girl like how it feels to put in the tampon or anything like that, but like I know kind of the direction it goes in. As long as your edge holds it, I mean that does the job. Eventually, and as long as it doesn't hurt to have it in there, that's an important. Really worried about it, get pads. It may be uncomfortable, but like if it's your first time dealing with it, especially, do that, and then when you have the opportunity, every moment you get someone who knows what they're doing to tell you. It's not that hard. It's not that terrifying. As long as they're not death bleeding. Um, Brooklyn Nine Nine Muppets. I think the Muppets have hit a hiatus. They did 2 episodes and stopped putting out episodes. Brooklyn Nine Nine had no episode, but I'm sure that's just a break. Mom, I don't know why they're doing this. They're doing the she might have feelings for X trope. And the ex happens to be having problems with his wife. All this stupid shit like I didn't realize how good I had it with you. Um, and I'm okay with them not being like a proper family. They can be this dysfunctional mess and still work and still be okay. Having Violet out of the house, like honestly, that was probably like one of the best things that happened for the entire family. Ella gets out on her own. She's happier. Chrissy doesn't have to worry about one more kid, especially one that's like actively fighting her. Um, Surprisingly enough, Bonnie's actually helpful. That show is uh, crazy up and down in emotion and practicality. I'm enjoying the ride. I really am. I think they're doing a good job. Family Guy. Then today's ridiculous scenario is Brian kissing Bonnie because she feels underappreciated. Joe and try to run away together, but both of them are silly ass dependents. I think it was actually supposed to be like a slap at Democrats. Like it seems politically the time for it, but it was subtle. Um, I think like the audience of Family Guy would need something a little different. And then Meg and Chris are stealing from old people because apparently at their school they have community service. Moving on to Bob's Burgers because I have nothing else to say about that. This is the type of like writing that's really good. I really appreciate the writing in Bob's Burgers, even if I don't get like even if everyone doesn't have like a major storyline going on. Once everyone's involved because it's a family, then they have relevant issues like Bob constantly battling the restaurant. The restaurant is an antagonist as much as it is a protagonist. So he has to do maintenance, like to be sensible. It's like things are happening in the background. Occasionally, you bring things to the front, like new seat cushions. Um, but whatever reason, stool cushions put them on are farty. Like they're filled with the farts, and it's not. It's just air trapped in the cushion. They had like a butt stomping party, and just butt stomped all the farts out of the stool. And then for whatever reason, a funeral reserved for the wake, not the wake, the after party, after after post ceremonial lunch. Um, I've never seen anyone so happy about a real fart in my life. Oh my god. They're executed. Um, the having a egomaniacal nurse like as a super villain. That's something I didn't really see coming, especially with Tina being the volunteer. She like went crazy and like I don't know if she made it up or if it was real, but like she maintained like there was a lice outbreak and then declared it super lice and like she was trying to shave all the kids' heads. Like I wanted to see that go farther, but then they have to draw and animate everyone with shaved heads, and I'm sure they didn't want that. They actually did it with the guidance counselor, and I was like, oh my gosh, oh I see what they did there. Um, that's horrible. I'm behind on a race, but supposedly it should be over soon, so I can just catch up and watch the rest of it. And then I can not talk about it because they're all done talking about it. Let's see. Over in elementary, this was a fun episode because I really didn't see it coming, even though there's actually a spoiler on the thumbnail. It's like you don't know what you're looking for, you're just not gonna see. But I mean, like you got the wealthy guy ran to the road. You got a brother attacked at his house, which super interesting. And then like their cousin offers to punch a cop in the face. That is like always a good thing in like a murder investigation. It's like, what? If I punch him, it's a felony. I won't. I can't inherit. It's super funny to see that. And literally, we're hitting these cases where they can't figure it out. So it's like they almost Deus Ex Machina. Um, this one happened to be because they were using a big dog as the murder weapon. If you don't know what a big dog is, there's a robotics program for a luggage carrying system, not luggage, but a porter carrier system, and it's really interesting to see how well balanced it is and everything. It's really interesting, but ah, say the the fact that they're going to use it as a murder weapon is amazing. And literally they had to like do that to draw out murder because the only person who would be murdering would be the one who's going to benefit from it somehow, unless they just hated them that much. And either way, so they would leave clues that they thought everyone was dead. So that was interesting. See if that happened. Um, episode for Castle Grim Monroe and Nick managed to bring back an artifact from Germany to escape all the assholes there. I wanted to know more about the jerks in Germany if they were just anti-Grim, or if like they were appointed guardians or what. I wanted, and then while they're gone, a guy comes, Rosalie, because she used to be a drug addict, so he's from that era. I think people would be able to handle themselves a little bit better. And I don't understand their motivations for things like that. It's like smashing up a shop doesn't help them pay you. It costs them worth shit, so that they have less money to pay you with. It doesn't make any sense. It's a thing I really want to see happening. Um, but Adeline's there, and she goes Hexen Beast, even though she's cured. She's like panicking because she doesn't want, which is going to be interesting. I'm wondering if they'll keep her personality this time. It's just really that much of an intoxicating that really all Hexen Beasts should be like. It's like according to like Adeline, the former Hexen Beast. That's the oh yeah, the assassin actually gets caught. I thought was interesting that happened, and killed. And everyone's really upset about that because tip off came from the bad guys who accused him, and the good guys call up all pissed. I say the good guys, but like Myers, that lot. I don't know if they're organization. And then with the death of the mayoral candidate, Renard's nominated. That's all a Black Claw plot. And it turns out the girl he was banging is Black Claw. So he's now playing two sides of the fence. We're gonna have to wait where he lands, and I'm actually really interested in that because that could change things dramatically, to the point where like we end up with a clear winner out of the, I don't know what you call it, the loyalist group, the grim loyalist group, and the Black Claw. But the biggest thing is I can't remember what was in the chest. I don't know if they ever told us because they had to like pick the lock and get all the keys together, and I really don't remember what's in there. And you would think that if we saw it, I would remember, because that would be pretty important. Natural zombie down the rabbit hole. 11/22/60. Um, damn, was this a good episode? Like I called it earlier. Like, um, they were looking for negative things to be happening to him all the time, and they weren't looking for positive things attracting them. His involvement with Sandy, and he even says it. He's like, I came back here for a reason. I'm letting her get the best of me, and I probably for the best that she up because now she won't be a distraction. But he gets fired and all this crazy shit. So I really kind of felt all messed up at the time. And then of course they're set up to observe Oswald, and Bill's getting too close to Oswald's wife, because dummy. But he's getting manipulated as far as I can see. The universe happening. And the universe happens to him hard in this episode. I feel bad for the guy. So, this was a fucked up little episode because we know that Sandy's, call her Sandy, her ex-husband, was a little bit of a freak. And I mean, do what you do if you got kinks and whatever, and go with consenting people. And that was not one of those relationships. He thought he bought her, and that she didn't have rights. That's not how that worked. And no, so him to be humiliated by Jake, and then built in, and of course he did something stupid like this. And of course he did it right before Oswald takes a shot at Walker because universe. I love this. It's like a scene in How I Met Your Mother. They just start slapping Barney and saying, "Universe." Universe wanted me to do it. It's the same thing. Just say universe as an excuse. Because they've set it up as a premise, as a plausible premise. Let's see. Leave anything out? So, like, yeah, okay, so he has this really elaborate, weird plot to get control of Sandy and kill Jake. And I don't know, like, how or why he thought he was going to get away with it. Like, the guy's just, it wasn't very smart. Like, they bring up more stuff that, like, he was abused. Which I don't know why he ever told anyone any of that, because it doesn't seem like it could ever be useful unless he just felt compelled to talk about it. And good, go to therapy if you feel like you got things you need to talk about that are bothering you because they're messed up. Talk to somebody. You don't have to be a therapist. Really, just someone qualified to talk back to you. Um, listen, listen wholly, and then talk back. So that's just crazy episode with Jake and killing another guy, and her being all messed up, and the big thing being that he finally tells her. So now like he's got a posse. Um, and what happens now if they get in a fight or they break up or whatever? Like I don't. It's changed a lot at this point, and they've affected things more. Because if you affect it too much, then you can't get to the point stop what you want to happen. Stop what you wanted to from happening. There we go. Yeah. So the way Bill gets fucked up is the universe shows him his dead sister walking out of a church, and he runs after him instead of watching Walker get shot at. So boo on that. Lucifer's a wonderful show. I've got 2 episodes on the docket today. Uh, Wingman was kind of fucked up. Like they tracked down his wings to like an auction. Um, his brother Amadil or whatever his name is. Like tries to help out because why would he? And it all turns out like he set up everything. Not wanting to be manipulated because he doesn't like that. Burned his wings, so Steel loses. I thought it was kind of a funny little thing, but he couldn't figure out some stuff, which he finds out in the next episode that Maze was actually helping him. Um, oh yeah, with Decker, the cop that was in a coma comes out of it. She cleared him, like denounced that he was a bad cop. They tried to kill him, or they tried to pull him off life support, and he comes back to life. That was interesting. Circle back to that in a moment. Uh, so of course Lucifer finds out about Amadil. He finds out that he's got an office in his therapist building. Links it to Maze. The therapist stops boning him, which he's not happy about either because he already has one woman that's denying him, not necessarily sex, but I really still think Decker's like holy. Like I think she's got like connections to Christ or something. Something's going on there, and that's why Lucifer bled, and she shot him not because no longer imperfect bullets. I think if someone else came at him, we'd notice that, and I'm waiting for that to happen so that we can. So I know what the rules are. I really want to know what the rules are. So, but yeah, so the last episode was all about like Lucifer's introspection, experience with jealousy. It's a new he doesn't like having, and maybe if he kept his way. Um, oh yeah, so like it just seems more and more that Decker's gonna get back with her ex, and like of course that's upsetting Lucifer. She was obviously into Lucifer. She was actively uh fighting things, and like even like just with words and how she's talking to him, getting more and more friendly with him that direction. Obviously disgusted that sleeping with other women, so that's always a good thing. But the end of the show, and I don't know why they showed us to us, but the show is pretty well written so far. So I'm curious what's gonna come of it. There's the supposed dirty cop that was in a coma's partner ends up killing himself and leaving a very elaborate suicide note. So we know it's him because it's in handwriting. And then it turns out that no, he didn't kill himself. He was murdered, but he was murdered by the coma cop to take suspicion away from Decker's ex, Detective Douche. So if he wasn't dirty before, the cop that was in a coma now dirty. There may be something else going on there. Like he may actually be like a demon, or something. I don't know. I don't know what the rules are for that. And then of course Lucifer dumps Maze. So we'll have to see where it goes. There's a lot of big setup, and I'm very curious to see where their launch is. This last episode of Supergirl, the one that came out yesterday or whatnot. He's having personality issues. Apparently, like this, there's red kryptonite, which I never got used to in the stories. I get green kryptonite is the stuff that weakens them, but apparently red is with their heads. It makes less sense than the green kryptonite. It's already kind of funny that like, oh, this rock from their home planet hurts them, but it's radiation being activated by our yellow sun the same bodies are. If you have a suspension of disbelief, it's easy enough to extend that. The red kryptonite pushes the boundaries a little bit, but it was really cool to see her kind of go dark side Supergirl. Kind of fucked up things, but Melissa Benoist or Benoit is such a good actress that she really owned it and she pulled the range and then really nailed it when Kara came out of Trip red kryptonite. And of course, it turns out to be a synthetic kryptonite made by Maxwell Lord. The idea was to use non, but he doesn't know what he's doing, so it didn't work like he wanted. It didn't even hit the right Kryptonian. But my biggest boon of this episode was that it was a plausible struggle. It wasn't like she was fighting for her life against other powers again. Very much she was fighting with herself. That's kind of good to see that she had a plausible. Oh yeah, no episode on Flash or Arrow. DC Legends of Tomorrow, however, is still kicking. The team goes back to the 1950s, a bunch of jackasses and fuck everything up. Savage is hawk people that try to harness their power without having to find them. Something. Got like experience. He's kidnapping people, but they're getting loose and because they're strong and everything. Yeah. Everyone screws everything up. They get caught in different ways, and of course they're the heroes, so they get out of it. Seems like the biggest focus was like this tiny outcry for repressed lesbianism. Secret hero in Snart. So I guess repressing your trinks, the whole thing. I know reports for a while. Once upon a time, they find in one episode we find Hercules and Megara, and they're gone. Oh, spoilers if you like, but that is such a waste that you're going to do that. These such great ideas as characters in Cerebus, like he's really one episode for that month. Especially the way they built him up. They built him up to be like god of Hades is like just some weird guy with magic right now. He's not a plausible threat as of yet. But it's God. He's just being weird about it, I guess. So yeah, and of course Hades has Hook. Like that was the real weird thing that he's doing. He's like, I've lost 3 souls to them. You get to pick which 3 souls place them. And it's like it just comes down to like balancing the books. I don't know if it's like supernatural where like he gets power from each soul that's in hell, but I'd like some more explanation there. They Once Upon a Time does not go out of its way to explain anything in a timely, clear fashion. You have to wait pretty much the maybe they'll answer you. But it's usually pretty good. Well, of course, Cruella strikes a deal with Henry because he is the current author, and Henry could just write everybody out of Hades, which second chance. Things are getting intense on this show. Pritchard and Duval are tracking this serial killer who's like looks like he's ripping people apart. It turns out it's a giant transgenic. Uh, so we know just based off of that there's other people making transgenics. So it's either that Otto and Mary have made before Pritchett, or there's a secret competition. Know that there's another guy, I can't remember his name, secretly competing with Otto and Mary, and he wanted to get control of Otto after Mary died. Cured of cancer now, so that's not going to happen. So Pritchard was going to leave because there's no point in him staying there, but he and Mary actually like each other, so they decided that neither one of them want him to. Otto's hell bent on it going back together to the point where he's like throwing things and throwing tantrums because he is not well in the head. Fact of it. And Connor is manipulating a lot of things going on, and he's trying to turn Otto, along with using Alexa to do it, well, against Mary, and maybe not so much Mary, but Pritchett, so that things go on. And we're this close to Otto just killing Pritchett. Like we didn't need him anymore. He wasn't a real person. I wanted things to go back how it was, and he's gonna make. I'm not saying it's gonna happen just like that, but he's gonna make a mistake that's gonna be socially unacceptable to Mary, and Mary is not going to be the same Mary that she was before Pritchett, and I don't think she ever will be. Now she escaped cancer. She's got a second chance herself, which is actually a cool double entendre. And yeah, we can reveal Alexa's a clone. She's actually an old lady, which I thought was interesting. Even Gracie's getting on to Pritchett, so things are gonna be falling apart pretty soon. I think Pritchett's gonna have to die again. I think that's gonna happen. I don't think the tank thing, something that's around for time. So that was cute to watch him and Mary's look apartments together, and like, oh, I got a big fish. Got caught up on Stitchers. I really should have circled back. That should be in the catch-up list. I think I'm now current. Now for the show that's unlike any other show out there, it really is. Like, there's a little bit of mystery, but not enough to accept all these others. The 100, and I'm really liking this show. Probably the one I'm most excited about on a weekly basis. The blockade on Arcadia is enforced now, and bloody hell, it's such a great idea, and it's amazing that it's held without like the proper commander in place, and without our connections to the Founder Nation Alliance. We don't get to see that anymore. So everything happening in this past episode is in the camp, and there's a lot going on in the camp because the camp is definitely not unified, and that was the whole idea, was to do the blockade and allow the Sky Crew to have time to manage things. And Pike's just going to lead everyone to death. He's going to either get them all starving to death, or he's going to get them to march out into dying, because they already started losing crews that are on patrol, or the Alliance is going to get ballsy and do infiltration missions for killing people. It's going to be ridiculous, because I'm pretty sure the best chance that Sky Crew has right now is any of the sensible people to get themselves thrown in jail, and then have just let the grounders come in and kill everyone who's not in jail. Because that's really very quickly what we're leading to. Because Pike just won't give up, and everyone else is being racist assholes. Like, if we had replaced the word grounders with any other racial or specious language, all of us would be horribly appalled. But because treating it as like a nation, it's very much like Native Americans. It's like, oh, you have different tribes, and in the tribes you even have different villages and sects. I hate bigotry as like a form of unification. It's very much similar to like if the Ku Klux Klan were in the future. Pike so much. I was so happy and sad alternating throughout this whole episode because they got so close to like proper resolution. All he had to do was just keep his foot on the gas. He would have got out of the way. Because it literally came down to Kane not wanting to run Bellamy over. Bellamy thinking that Kane wouldn't do it. And everyone's trying to do the right thing, but where do the lines blur? And what's actually going to get everyone killed? Because there is a point of no return. You go and kill an entire village, like they're going to come after your village. Sky Crew is one village, not several villages make up a sect of a nation. Oh my god! And they gave Pike the opportunity to turn himself in. And the response, I think, it was Bellamy's stupid ass that shot him. Yeah. So Kane had a brilliant plan there, and I wouldn't go into too many details there, but I ruined it. Pike's a dick. It just ends very badly for. But I want to see where it goes, and I really want to see everyone else get thrown in jail and just let the grounders take the camp. For the City of Light, like they were this close to getting the chips back, and Jasper just won't shut his fucking mouth. So he's sitting there reminding Raven of all these things. Raven's starting to realize that she's lost some of her less important memories, or they're less relevant to now in the City of Light, because her brain's being used for processing power. So she forgot like her first big love that she came from space for, even though she's wearing the necklace. It all comes out of Jasper moaning about like wanting to just sit and relive that because he thinks it's a drug. He doesn't realize it is because they're not being honest about what it is. Like it's a key to the City of Light. Jasper gets his key. He thinks it's be a drug that he doesn't have to take over. That's he's been looking for. He's been looking for drugs. He's been looking for alcohol, things to numb the pain and mind wander where he wants, and it's not the solution, people. And Raven, I love that. I love her character really. But she had a momentary lapse, and she turned on it. And so now she's at least for the moment like against the City of Light, but she's the only one who can see her and is rejecting her, which I think is kind of crazy. So did she. The AI was very taken aback by that. You got to be more than pretty, lady. You got to be more. All right, so on my catch-up list, I'll talk about. Oh no, I won't. Journey Quest. It may actually be worth it to go and pay a little bit to watch it on like Steam if it's cut together properly. If it plays like episodes of you on YouTube, then I'd be pissed. But watching it on YouTube was a little distracting. There's a lot of stuff that they interlace there, and then it's video format, so you have to show repeatedly. And I'd much rather just watch it like a movie, like Red vs. Blue's done. So Journey Quest is a really interesting show. It's a fantasy based. It essentially looks like a LARP, but it's a real story. It's just done in a fashion where it looks like somebody's filming a LARP. There's actors in costume, playing this RPG and or doing a story based off an RPG. So it's like this wizard who doesn't want to be the legend that he is. There's this warrior knight guy that's like a murderous bastard. There's a cleric who very quickly, it's not really that much of a spoiler, becomes undead. And then there's the ranger. She's like the only competent character out of any of them. She has to be the one that holds things together, except for that time where like the assassin tranked her, got all goofy. So there's that. It's quite an interesting show. The characters are done really well. There's a couple people in there that are a little bit more famous than the others. And then like there's a bard following around. I thought the bardic community thing was the whole idea is that like the bard's in the party and they give support, um, but they don't necessarily do a lot of the fighting. They write the tales and everything that way. Supposedly, this is a world where you be a bard and walk around and do whatever you want as long as you're on bardic business, which is the time because it's right log epics and such. Um, so I don't know. And then the assassin girl's fun too. I thought. I thought she was interesting that the bounty hunt bounty hunter was there because like the world they're in, it's like there's a king that's ruling kind of by force, but he's a benevolent king. And then there's the people who are contending him are like this council of bureaucrats and are really just power hungry. Apparently, they've got like a lot of magic, so they keep possessing people in the messenger talk through, which oh my god, those people are amazing. They are doing like conversations of where like one person's doing six sides. Really, really banged it out right. Totally worth going and checking it out. You can just YouTube Journey Quest if you like the first couple episodes. Tribute, buy it on Steam or go to their site and over on Stitchers. I can't remember what happened in the earliest episode that I watched, but like we get her boyfriend showing up, Cameron's boyfriend yet, and like it's kind of odd to see that she has a boyfriend, but everybody has. But she makes a big point about not having true emotions, learning how to emote through stitching. So it's totally an interesting thing to see that, but it made me relate a little bit because like it's very much how I deal with relationships. Like, oh well, I just pick it up wherever we left off, and that was. So like the amount of time back and forth, like, doesn't seem to matter as much as, but in the reality and logistics of everything, like it matters more there. Um, we had like we had some really clever little plot. I actually caught me because I was very much thinking that it was the rich husband that cheating and like they had a nice twist on it. It's actually the wife. But I don't understand like how somebody finds out that you murdered somebody and then you try to bribe them. That sort of shit just doesn't make any sense. Let's fire in the they actually had to quarantine the lab because there was like a super flu or something, and uh, they had to reconstruct a cure for the strain of the virus that they had on the fly. So that was interesting to see all that happen and like everyone go into like, oh, if I was gonna die, like I need to call somebody, I love them or whatever, because they still can't tell people what they're doing there until after they're dead. Um, Even then, no, because so like they just had like weird, awkward conversations with loved ones, like, oh, I can't tell you anything. I love you. I just want to hear your voice. I want to talk about this. Can we not talk about that right now? And then the really weird setup happened with Linus Camille up to meet his parents. I thought it was so funny that like are on the verge of death. It's like why not? Let's just make weird commitments we can't keep. Because that would tear them up. It's like oh, and he was gonna meet us, have us meet his girlfriend. Um, then there's a thing where Fisher gets wounded and almost dies. Like Camille actually starts training to go in and be a substitute driver. And there's this whole thing with like that's right. The previous episode, oh, I skipped one. That's why. She stitches in the brain of a psychic, so she has all these flashes of future information because it's future predictions that the psychic made in the past. So if you read the past messages that contain information about the future, things that haven't happened yet, essentially like reading the future when you're just reading what she had previously predicted. So it was a neat way to toy with the line. But in that, she saw Fisher dead, and that was a really a messed up thing. I was like, oh, when's that going to come into play? And of course, the next episode, Gets wounded, dies, and I don't remember what happened, but he's fine the following episode, and they go to have a Halloween party, which was another interesting one that really got me, because she kept seeing ghosts. She kept seeing the dead guy in real life. Kept seeing him inside the visions, which is fucked up because this was the first time it was only ever first person. Which it should always be first person. She shouldn't just be a third person in the thing. Like I get the computer's reconstructing the memories from the perspective of the guy, but it should always be one way or the other. So she should have been able to see that it was his twin brother and not just him talking to himself. Or yeah, talking to her in the. So one of those explainable things happens. I want to say maybe this was on the episode, I can't remember, but at some point she finds out that she is actually the basis for the stitching program. When she was a little kid, they tried to stitch her into their unconscious mom, and because her dad, because oh my god, because like something went wrong, she has this temporal dysplasia nonsense. So like that character is now rocking so much hard information. It's crazy to imagine her even being a functional character. So I'm really looking forward to now that I'm caught up some. Oh yeah, because that had been the end of season 2 or the season 1, because we're on season 2 now, and I think we're a couple episodes out. Now I'm really curious. I should probably go look. Um, uh, yeah. So like, I really want to see more show, and I really, honestly, the thing that gets me the most with the show, uh, even if it is a slightly unique way to do that same idea over and over again, which I brought up before, the main character in the show is what I really like. Psychological aspects contributing are wonderful. It's great to feed my mind on, and oddly relatable in a lot of different ways. I realize I may not come off. I realize I hit the spectrum in some way, shape, or form. Um, so like when I find other slightly relatable ones, like oh, I wonder if that's a thing I have. So like I have uh, what's the one? Um, I have the thing where you believe you have things, but it's only like with mental or social disorders. Not like oh, I must be sick because I believe it's um. Bleh. So yeah, I'm not seeing two popping up here. I don't know. Find it. And then of course that leads us to Fear the Walking Dead. This has been a really great show. I watched like 3 through the second to last. So that I mean that all takes us through like we're waiting on Dad to come home. They find the dog. The dog gets killed. They have to bury it. Um, I don't ever remember walkers eating animals. I don't remember that ever being a thing. But of course, oh, they eat the horse. So yeah, it's obviously a thing. If it's alive, and makes noise, they go after it. I think if it smells a certain. Uh, so they got ready to escape. They were ready to get out of there, and the military shows up, for whatever reason. Um, and that is a really weird scenario at that point because you got military who doesn't want to be there, keeping control of civilians by force. Um, and really, it's like, well, like we're gonna protect the gates. If you're in the gates, great. Otherwise, go wherever the hell you want. But they're like, it's like they can't use cars, they can't do anything. The car thing is about noise because noise attracts walkers. So all the firefighting that they're doing now is going to attract walkers. But of course, the people are getting upset. The army ends up taking a bunch of civilians, about like the weakest one, medical attention, supposedly. Um, um, So the civilians ended up taking a soldier because it's like eye for an eye. Now we have someone to trade, someone to get intel from. Of course, by that point, the soldiers are all going to evac anyways. They're going to leave the civilians to die. It's actually, I take that back. There's supposed to be a protocol for humane disposal. Such a wonderful phrase. I got to tell you, I really like that. Um, and then like, there's a guy in the medical camp, guest detention area, whatever you want to call it, who's like, once they're gone, I'm going to take over. And I like people who have ambition, and somebody's got to lead. So this last episode is going to be pretty interesting because I don't think we have enough time to like do all the things the show needs. But I'm really looking forward to it. On my future watch list, just for the record, I gotta yell at myself every week about this. Hours, Cooper Barrett's Guide to Surviving Life, 12 Monkeys, Librarians, Finding Carter, Constantine, Comedians, The Family, and of course, Game of Thrones is coming up. My goal is by Game of Thrones, have the future watch list cleared. Oh, I have to add Making a Murder, or How to Get Away with Murder, whatever the hell it is. Documentary about a case that got mistrialed or something, got away with murder. I have to look this up and watch it on Netflix. I got to double check, and if it is, I'll reinstate my. Oh, I did watch the voices for hashtag We Are Movie Club tomorrow. If you like talking about movies and watching movies, come check us out on youtube.com/We Are Movie Club. Or you can go to either hdkb.podbean.com or SoundCloud/HTKB, and We Are Movie Club will go up there on audio as well. But Sid and I should be talking about that tomorrow. Oh, my nose. And of course, you can shout us over at We Are Movie Club on the Twitter. But we did watch The Voices, which is a weird thing. All I'm going to say about it right now is that I immediately felt like I had to watch The Muppets. I watched that as well, and I really enjoy the Muppets in general. And I liked the returning movie. I thought Jason Segel and Amy Adams were great choices. And if I couldn't have Rachel Bloom, then right on, right on. I just the Muppets Most Wanted was a really weak follow through. I think somebody has an idea of what the Muppets used to be versus what they can be now. And that happened, and the show happened, and I wasn't really happy with the show. Which is, they've morphed it into something more of what I want now. Because I want the Muppet Show back. Hopefully, we end the Piggy show and we go back to the. Especially if Piggy and Kermit get back together, then. So that's really all I got here. I'm tired, so I think it's the reality of the situation here. But hopefully you liked something I had to say here today and enjoyed this. And apparently Ustream hates me. So we'll yeah. So until you see me next time, I am Kamurai. Have a nice day. If you want to see anything else we're up to, go ahead and click the annotations and take you to our other channels. Thanks for watching.